What's up guys, it's Jim Tay. Today I'm going to talk to you about ABSD, short for Additional Buyer's Stamp Duty, which is the property tax payable by foreigners when buying residential property in Singapore. As it stands right now, the rate is 30% of the property purchase price. It was last tweaked in December of last year. It's a popular topic among foreigners. My foreigner clients always ask me how they can save on this hefty tax, which can easily be millions of dollars. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 ways, all of which are legal, how you as a foreigner can potentially avoid this ABSD. Quick disclaimer, this is not financial advice and these methods may not all be applicable to your particular situation. If personal, hands-on guidance is what you're looking for, I have a link in the description where you can head to my website and fill up a form to get in touch with me directly. Otherwise, if you just enjoy watching my videos, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. Feel free to leave a comment to ask any questions, give me some feedback, I reply to all my comments. With that said, let's dive right in. First up, the easiest and most straightforward way. If you happen to hold the passports of these countries or even just have permanent residency and you're buying your first residential property in Singapore, you get a free pass on ABSD as though you are a Singaporean. That's thanks to free trade agreements that are set up between Singapore and these countries. They are Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. I haven't mentioned the biggest country yet so far, the United States of America, where only if you're a citizen, you're in luck because yes, citizens of the USA do not have to pay ABSD and are treated as local Singaporeans when buying residential property here. In fact, buyers holding American citizenship make up almost 10% of all foreign buyer transactions of non-landed homes from January to August 2022. If at this point you're wondering, why only non-landed homes? What about the landed properties? Well, sorry to say, but as foreigners, you won't be able to qualify for landed properties. But that's a whole entire topic for another day. I have a full details of the process on how to buy properties in Singapore as a foreigner in a separate video. Click the link above if you want to check that out. Now on to method 2, which in some ways is an extension of the first. As we probably know, the United States is one of the most popular global destinations for immigrants. If you were one of them in the past, maybe your kids have already obtained US citizenship. You can therefore bypass the ABSD requirement by buying the residential property under your kid's name. If he or she is above 21, they can legally own a property in Singapore. For kids below 21, fret not, you still can purchase via what's known as a trust. What this means is, as parents, you manage the property on your kids' behalf until they can receive the full benefits and legal ownership at a later appointed time, usually when they reach 21. Purchasing via this method though does have its implications. Very importantly, you won't be able to take any loans using this property as a mortgage and will have to pay in cash the full purchase price. Also, there is still an ABSD on this trust purchase of 35%. This was a new measure that was announced just earlier this year. However, again, nothing to worry about. You just need to pay this 35% upfront and then you would be able to make an application to the IRAS, Singapore Tax Authority, to get this ABSD paid back. Don't worry too much about all the nitty-gritty procedures as everything will be handled by your legal representatives representing you in the purchase. The third method is my personal method. Later I'll share with you why. It takes effort, patience, and very importantly, an emotional connection. Date a Singaporean and get married to one. With a local spouse, it opens many more doors when it comes to purchasing residential property. For a start, you can enjoy full ABSD remission when you purchase in joint names. Other categories of residential property beyond just the non-landed private homes also become fair game. For example, you can buy landed properties subject to approval by the Singapore Land Authority Land Dealings Approval Unit, or even the holy grail of public housing development board flats, or HDBs as they're more commonly known. They're the most value for money and one of the best public housing in the world. Hey, I'm a live example, and my wife certainly knows a thing or two about the benefits of having a Singaporean spouse. She's a Malaysian herself. So yes, we too, under the married couple scheme, didn't have to pay ABSD on our residential property purchase. Moving on, number 4, and this requires deep pockets. The EDB, short for Economic Development Board, is a government agency that is responsible for strategies that enhance Singapore's position as a global centre for business, innovation, and talent. They offer what's known as the Global Investor Programme, or GIP, a scheme which, according to their website, accords Singapore Permanent Resident status, PRs, to eligible global investors who intend to drive their business and investment growth from Singapore. Here we take a look at the fact sheet of GIP, and we can see 4 main profiles which can qualify: the established business owners, the next generation business owners, founders of fast growth companies, and family office principals. Of these 4, I want to point out that the family office principal is the only one that does not require any ownership or relation to an existing company. In fact, this segment has boomed over the last few years and seeing a ton of growth, with numbers jumping 5-fold between 2017 and 2019 and almost doubling from 400 at the end of 2020 to 700 a year later. I've even understood that in the first half of this year alone, there were more than 100 applications for a new Singapore family office. It's certainly been growing and is still growing fast. Most recently, in early October, it was also reported that Asia's second wealthiest man, Reliance Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani, is setting up a family office in Singapore as well. He joins a list of famous people who already have such setups existing. Just take note, I mentioned deep pockets, and I'm very serious. You'll need net investable assets of at least 200 million. Shall I say that this is almost as direct as buying your way to Singapore permanent residency? A golden visa, so to speak. Nevertheless, I must still mention that getting a PR status does not totally remove your ABSD liability, but it does save quite a bit as it becomes reduced from 30% to 5% as a PR. And now, number 5. If you're a pure investor and have no plans for needing a place to stay in Singapore, but yet at the same time want exposure to the real estate market here, you can consider non-residential properties instead. Commercial and industrial properties will not be liable for ABSD. Popular segments for individual investors include the strata office market, which in the first half of 2022 saw 145 units changing hands, amounting to a total transaction value of more than 360 million. There's limited supply in this sector, and in particular, Suntec City stands out as one of the most popular locations, with the record price there being broken for the 3rd time in only 4 months. Another beloved area for the deep-pocketed are shophouses, especially for those accorded conservation status. Uniquely, they also offer foreign investors one of the only ways to directly own freehold land in Singapore. That, coupled with also being in limited supply, have resulted in prices skyrocketing. One of the standouts was reported in the news recently, having almost doubled in price over a mere 14 months, netting the owner a handsome 4.5 million profit. Wow. In total, there were 114 shophouse sales in the first 6 months of the year, worth more than 938 million in total. Besides, for the pure investors who are yet to own anything, I want to also shout out to the foreigners. Maybe it's you who've been staying in Singapore for a long time. Perhaps you already purchased a residential property to live in some time ago when ABSD was much lower, and now you feel kind of stuck because if you sell and buy another one, you have to incur the ABSD again, and if you simply just want to invest in another, you will also incur the ABSD. For you, these categories of property, commercial and industrial, might be something you may want to look closer into. So that's a wrap on the 5 ways to avoid ABSD legally. Before I end, keep in mind that when buying property in Singapore, there are other costs as well besides the ABSD. First of all, you have the regular buyer's stamp duty that's applicable to everyone regardless of nationality, even locals. Rates you can see very quickly in the table here. There will also be conveyancing legal fees which start from around $3,000 and increases depending on property type and value. Should you require more complicated structures like the trust or the family office schemes mentioned earlier, additional fees can go up to even the tens of thousands. Also, buying non-residential property will most ideally be done via a business setup in Singapore, which can be handled by a corporate secretary for about $5,000. And don't forget agent fees, which may sometimes be paid by the sellers or would range from 1 to 3% of the purchase price payable by the buyer. In any case, when buying property in Singapore, it's no walk in the park. There's many things to look out for, and it's best to have a trusted advisor whom is able to support you throughout the entire process. With that said, that's it. I've come to the end of this video. I hope you have found value and can do me a favor by hitting the like button. Feel free to also leave a comment if you have any questions and feedback, and I'll answer them. If you aren't a subscriber yet and want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. Once again, my name is Jim Tay, and I'll see you in my next video.